My last video was a little bit grim. I gave evidence for why I think a bad trade deal is coming. This video is going to be a bit more upbeat. I'm going to present 6 ways that Canadians can fight Trump's tariffs. And these techniques will work even if a trade deal, a bad trade deal, gets signed. But make no mistake, while these techniques are simple, they're not going to be easy. They will require that Canadians be united like never before. They will require us to put Canada first ahead of our normal buying patterns. Do we as Canadians have it in us? You be the judge. And stick around to the end of this video because the last 3 techniques I present are pretty radical. First, we need to stop spending with American military suppliers. 80% of what we spend on military hardware is with the Americans. And that's got to stop. I know the Americans have some good military gear, but so do other countries. American military suppliers have huge influence with the American government. They won't be happy to see their profits going away. And so that's why we need to make sure that we're putting the pressure on them so that they'll put the pressure on the American government. Second, we need to build our own military industry. Until we do, we will be at the mercy of everyone else, especially the Americans. You might think we're too small to have a military industry, but nothing could be further from the truth. Other countries like Turkey and South Korea have a GDP that's smaller than Canada, and yet they have very vibrant military industries. South Korea in particular has the ability to build jet aircraft. They've built the T-50 jet trainer and the KF-21 stealth fighter. So on a GDP basis, we have the ability to do it. Of course, GDP isn't the real problem. The real problem is that many Canadians don't think we should have a military at all. And so of course they think that we shouldn't have any sort of weapons industry. They equate having defensive weapons with being militaristic, which Canadians are not. We have a proud military history, but we are not a militaristic people. Nations that want to remain independent are willing to defend themselves. But will we? Will we put Canada first? Third, we need to build pipelines to other markets. If Canada can only sell to the United States, then we'll always be at the mercy of the price that they're willing to pay. But if we can expand our pipelines to other markets, then we have options. And it will bring in revenue that can allow us to be the masters of our own destiny. But just like building a weapons industry, we are at the mercy of those Canadians who feel that we should not have, use, or exploit fossil fuels. So it's not the Americans that are holding us back. It's we Canadians who are holding ourselves back. If we have the willpower, we can fight Trump and his tariffs. But frankly, if we don't have the willpower, then we are at Trump's mercy. Fourth, we've got to stop flying Boeing jets. I know, this one seems radical, and it is. But it is an important means of putting political pressure through the economic pressure on the Americans. Boeing certainly weren't shy about pressuring Canada when it came to the Bombardier C-Series. They basically tried to put the C-Series out of business by their political pressure. Well, Bombardier sold to Airbus, and now the C-Series is the A220, and it's doing really well all around the world. But I remember what Boeing did to us. And so we shouldn't be shy about boycotting Boeing products. So what would this look like? Instead of just buying the cheapest flight possible, it would mean choosing consciously the flights that are on non-Boeing aircraft. In other words, Airbus or Embraer. Pretty soon, the Canadian Airlines would get the message and dump their Boeing planes and load up on Airbus and Embraer products. Again, it's simply a matter of willpower. It's simply a matter of Canadians making a conscious decision to put Canada first instead of just simply seeking out the cheapest flight possible. Will we do it? You be the judge. Fifth, we need to give our Prime Minister emergency powers to cut off energy exports to countries that we deem to be a national security threat. And yes, I know this is also radical. But we need to have something that we can hold over Trump's head. Trump likes to play the national security card. He loves to say, oh, this country is a threat to us, this country is a threat to us. Well, quite frankly, this whole business about Canadian steel and Canada being a national security threat to the United States, it's insulting. Us a threat? Give me a break. Well, it's time Canada played the national security card too. Our Prime Minister should recall Parliament, even in the summer, and should pass a law saying that the Prime Minister has the ability to cut energy exports to countries that are a national security threat. Whether we use that power or not, that depends on Trump. Like the other measures I'm proposing, this simply requires willpower on the part of Canadians. Do we want to be the global nice guys all the time and get pushed around left, right, and center by people like Donald Trump? Or are we willing to bring in some measures that have teeth? Sixth, we need to get radical about buying Canadian. Every day we make individual choices about the products that we buy, whether we buy American products or whether we buy Canadian products. And I know that the Americans have some really good products. I know that there's many brands that we like, that are familiar to us, that are part of our buying patterns, and we buy them all the time. But maybe we should look at the label and determine whether we could buy Canadian or just not buy at all. I know sometimes there isn't an equivalent Canadian product, but can we do without that product if it's American? After all, if the well-being of Canada is at stake, if the jobs of our fellow Canadians are at stake, can we in good conscience buy American products? As Canadians, we need to make decisions every day about what is best for Canada. For as long as Trump pushes his tariffs, we should stay away from American products. We should make that individual decision. It's only when trade opens up and we can have free trade with the Americans that we can once again, in good conscience, buy American. So what will it be? Canadian brands or Trump tariffs? Let me know what you think in the comments, and please subscribe to this channel to encourage me to continue making original content. Thanks.